Welcome to Tatyova Birds. Hope you're excited. It just makes me laugh every time I say it. And as far as opening hand goes, yeah, let's go Mulligan. Not super wild about that hand. Yes, I like this hand a lot. We have Island, Evolving Wilds, Windswept Heath, and then Wayward Sawtooth. We're going to keep on this one, and then we'll see what the scry is. Hopefully it's another land that can get us down for a Tatyova. Panorama, yeah, we're going to put that on top. And then anything else, our opponent's on the play, and we'll let them do their thing. We are playing Tatyova. Whenever your land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life and draw a card. And then I'll cover Mayael in just a second. All right. Opponent's going to get down to Mirror's Guile. Let's go and go for Windswept Heath. Let's go ahead and go for... let's go and go for Windswept Heath. Let's crack that one. Let's go and get a blue-green dual source onto the battlefield. We'll go grab Breeding Pool. Have that come into play tap. Not going to pay 2 life, and we'll go and pass the turn to our opponent. Playing gets Mayael the Anima. It's going to be 6 mana activation, which is just, that's always driven me nuts, is that it's not 5 mana. I mean, I understand cost-wise why, but it's just like, my brain always defaults that it's 5 mana because look at the top 5 and then power 5 are great. It's kind of like, what's his name? Grizzlebrand. I don't know. It's just kind of weird. Anyway, 6 mana activation. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a creature card with power 5 or greater from among them onto the battlefield with the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Sorry for reading that so quick. Our opponent was waiting for us to click OK, and then we're going to kick the turn over. Now, we are running into lands. We have more than enough lands to go and get down Tatyova, and we also have a fetch land to get down with her. Now, just like any land commander that matters about, any landfall style commander or commander that cares about lands entering the battlefield, it's always nice to get it down as quickly as possible, but there's going to be some games most games actually, where if your commander cares about lands, you want to be able to make a land drop the turn you get down Tatyova. The last thing that we definitely want to do is tap out for Tatyova, and then we're not going to be able to get a land draw or card draw off of that, and that's just going to be, it's going to make you sad. You're going to feel really sad about that, and you don't want to feel sad playing commander. And so let's go and make an additional land drop. Let's get down another forest, and then we're going to go and pass the turn. So next turn, we're looking at forest. We'll be able to get that down, get down Tatyova, and get down Evolving Wilds and get some good card draw kind of going from there. It's kind of like playing Omnath, Locus of Rage, Omnath does cost, it's either 7 or 8 or something like that, and then once you finally do get down Omnath, if you just simply tap out for it with no land drop, you end up with no elemental, they simply just have a path, Swords to Plowshare, or something like that, you feel kind of bad, you're like, didn't get anything done. So same thing with Tatyova, you want to be able to make that land drop, right? So we have Tracker coming across, swinging across for 1. Tracker does have the fight ability, but thankfully, our opponent didn't really have much out there. Even if they wanted to use Mayael to target Tatyova, we've got her covered. So let's go and get down Forest. Yeah, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we'll get down Evolving Wilds and get some good card draw going. So let's go and get the party started. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, and Tatyova is just silly with this card draw. I mean, it's just goofy. All right, let's go and crack Evolving Wilds in response to that. That way we don't draw into whatever land we want to search up. Definitely go and grab an island off that one, and we'll draw an additional card. All right, drawn to Mindstreaker, and then drawn to Crucible of Worlds. Anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. Now, as far as next turn goes, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 total mana. 8 permanents on the battlefield. So as far as getting the City's Blessing with Wayward Sawtooth, we should be able to get that next turn, especially if we're going to be able to play additional lands. What we can do is tap out for Crucible of Worlds, go for Windswept Heath and Evolving Wilds out of the graveyard, and then we'll end up with a lot of pretty good card draw on that one. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 card draw, and then is going to get down Soul of the Harvest. Non-token creature enters the battlefield, you may draw a card. Okay, starting to have a little bit of a match. I can't remember the amount of times that playing gets in Mayael that our opponent doesn't really get a whole lot going sometimes. Let's go and tap out for Crucible of Worlds. It's going to be 1, 2, 3. And let's go ahead and get down Scalding Tarn, actually. I want to be able to have a land enter the battlefield untapped. Let's go ahead and crack Scalding Tarn in response to that. Let's go ahead and grab that Tropical Island. We'll draw an additional card. Drawn to Felwar Stone, and then we draw into Aven Surveyor. Let's go ahead and go for the, I guess technically it doesn't matter. We're going to go for Windswept Heath. I'll draw an additional card. Let's go ahead and crack in response to that. So you can pretty much see this is kind of what Tatyova does. You get a lot of lands going, and it's just start drawing a bunch of cards, gaining a bunch of life. All right, drawn to Aven Envoy, and drawn to Sword of Fire and Ice. Let's go and get rid of some of these burns out of the hand. We have 5 total mana to kind of work with. So we're looking at Mindstreaker and Aven. Let's do this. Let's go and go for Felwar Stone. Let's go ahead and tap out. That's going to be 1 white mana. Let's get down Mindstreaker. And the fun thing about running Distant Melody is that we're drawing a bunch of cards, get a bunch of birds on the battlefield. Let's go and get down Aven Envoy. I love the art on this one. He looks like he means business. Anything else? No, we're gonna go and pass the turn to our opponent. So our opponent can't swing in. They do have a 6/6 out there. If they do want to end up going for Soul of the Harvest, using Tracker to fight it, that's definitely an option that they can go for. If that does end up happening, we've made enough land drops now to where we can simply just recast Tatyova and then kind of go from there. We do have Sword of Fire and Ice in the hand, protection from red and from blue. So this really gonna kind of miss most of our opponent's deck, other than red. Typically with Mayael, it's probably, I would assume it would be more heavier green as far as some of their bigger creatures. It's not going to help us in this particular matchup. But we're already looking at 2 birds on the battlefield. We get down Hydro, Mulf, Jolt, and then we get down Avens. I mean, some of these bird names are just really weird. All right, opponent ends up going for Tireless Tracker, so I will take that one. But we get a few more birds onto the battlefield, and then opponent went for, Hull Breach on Crucible of Worlds. Okay. They're going to stop the Tatyova bird force from swinging in, and then no swing in from Soul of Harvest. All right, see what we draw into. And that's the fun thing. Sword of Feast and Famine. Hey now, we're really getting somewhere. Let's go for Bant Panorama. Let's get that card draw going. Let's see what we can tap out for. Let's go for Sword of Feast and Famine. That's going to be 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so what we can do is we can get down Sword of Feast and Famine onto Nothing Has Reach. Is that correct? Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll get it onto Mind Streaker. It's going to be 1, 2. Let's go do it this way. 1, 2. And so we have that on there. Is anything in a certain way that we are looking at 5 total mana, and both of our creatures are going to be 5. Let's go and go for Aven Surveyor. That's going to be blue, and we're going to be able to get an untap off of this one. Let's go and bounce Soul of Harvest back to the hand. Now there are a few bird creatures in the deck that work really well with this. You know, you can actually they have a lot of these birds have like bounce something back to the hand or library manipulation, so it actually works really well with Tatyova. I was going to push in with the crew, swing in with Mind Streaker, protection from black and green. We'll be able to get that untap step and get down Sword of Fire and Ice, and then kind of start going from there. All right, untap all lanes that we control, and our opponent's gonna have to discard a card. They are sitting at 3 cards in the hand, with one of those being the card we just bounced back. I can't remember its name, but I can see the art. Soul of Harvest. Yeah, that's what it was. For some reason, I just could not remember the name of it. Let's go and get down Hydro. Get the Gulf down. 1, 2, 3. And what we'll do on this one is we're going to be able to leave up, yeah, I like that, but let's go and go for Sword of Fire and Ice. We can go for that next turn, get a little bit of extra card draw going, and then we'll actually have the activated ability, counter target spell that targets a creature you control. We'll have that online. Anything else, we're going to go and pass turn to our opponent. Now, they are sitting at 27. We do need to get some sort of buff onto the battlefield. We can close it out in the air, but it's going to be really slow, and especially if our opponent is able to at least get a pretty good chunk of creatures onto the battlefield with Mayael or something like that. It's going to be hard for us to deal with that. Yeah, and then also with Mirri's Guile, they're actually going to be able to, kind of see what they're looking at as far as the Mayael activation. If they don't like what's going on, they can go for that Windswept Heath activation to kind of shuffle it up and then kind of go from there. Opponent's going to go for an activation, see what's going to enter the battlefield. Now, if we do end up going for Distant Melody next turn, whenever it dies, exile it, return 2 cards from random for your graveyard to the battlefield. Okay, trample 8/8. All right. Now, if we do end up going for Distant Melody next turn, we can go that during our main phase. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to be 4 total things that we can go for. Our opponent does have Tracker online to go and take care of Tatyova, so we'll see if they end up going for that one. But either way, we still have Bant Panorama to go for, and also the Naya Panorama in the hand to get a few extra lands onto the battlefield. Okay, let's see what we draw into. Draw into Command Beacon. Do we want to go and get that down for the turn? We're going to be tapping out for Tatyova. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we can make a few more activations off that. Yeah, let's go and go for, let's go and put it at 5. Yeah, let's go and go for that one. Do we need it that bad? No, let's do this. Let's go and go for Tatyova. That's going to be 1, 2, 3. Let's get down Tatyova, and let's go and go for Naya Panorama, and we're going to be able to get some good life-gaining card draw off this one. Tireless Tracker, okay. Do we want to get down Tireless Tracker first once we start cracking some of these? No, let's go and go for it. Let's go and go for the Sword of Fire and Ice onto one of our other creatures. Let's go and put this onto Aven Envoy. Tap out for 1 more. It's going to allow us to draw an additional card. Let's go and sacrifice one of the Panoramas. Pay 1, search your library for a forest or a plains card. Forest or islands. Get the island on the battlefield. I will draw an additional card. Coat of Arms. A little bit too late on that one, buddy, but at least next turn. All right, let's go and push in. It's going to be the whole crew swinging across on this one. We're looking at 5. It's going to be 10 coming across next turn with 2 sword triggers, too, on this one. All right. And the good thing about all this life gain up these lands is that we're going to end up with some really good stuff. So let's go and get the Sword of Fire and Ice. Let's go and deal 2 damage to that let's get rid of that tracker. That's one big thing that we need to get rid of. So we're gonna have that Sword of Feast and Famine trigger, making our opponent discard a card. We're gonna have our lands untap and deal 2 damage, and then we draw into Sage Owl. Let's go and go for. Let's get down Sage Owl. Look at the top 4 cards, put them back in any order. I'm gonna kind of see if we want to end up going for something like Distant Melody this turn. Let's get down Sage Owl. Force of Will. Let's go ahead and go for. Let's put Polluted Delta. Actually, we do it this way. So we go Force of Will, put the Force on top, we'll draw into that card, and then let's go and go for Distant Melody. I like having access to Force of Will. What's going to end up happening is if something does happen, let's say they do have a board wipe, we're going to choose Bird on this one. We're going to draw a lot of cards. We'll draw into that Force of Will, and then, unfortunately, we didn't draw into. I was hoping we'd draw into a blue card, but we did not. Let's go for Sky Shroud Claim. At least that'll give us another option, maybe rip into another blue card. So let's go for Sky Shroud Claim, search for another Force. That'll be an additional card draw. And did we draw into another blue source? Ah, there we go. All right, we're online for Force of Will. Anything else, we're going to go and pass turn to our opponent. We're going to get rid of at least Polluted Delta at this point right now. We're getting a little low on lands, and we'll go and pass turn to our opponent. So next turn, we do have Lethal. Once we do get on Coat of Arms, it's going to allow our birds to start swinging across. We're also going to have Owl Familiar online for pitching to Force of Will. If our opponent does have another board wipe, something like Wrath of God or something like that one. But this is pretty much what the deck wants to do. And you can see how busted Tatyova is sometimes, that you can, it's going to cost X or X total. It's not going to have haste. Yeah, that's fine, because even if they do swing across, we're looking at 20. But you can see how busted Tatyova is, that we're able to make Bird Tribal like this work. And then when you get down to Coat of Arms, oh, that's some good magic. All right, Defensive Heart, at the beginning of your upkeep. Yeah, that's not going to matter because we're past their upkeep. And then go and get that down. Main thing is we had Force of Will for a board wipe, and it looks like we're going to be able to survive that one. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so we're looking at least 25 coming across next turn in the Coat of Arms, and I think they're going to get really there's no synergy on our opponent's side of the board as far as getting any sort of Coat of Arms action going. All right, see what we draw into. Either way, we're just going to get down that Coat of Arms and then have some fun. I love Coat of Arms because it reminds me of, it's going to command me. It reminds me of when I first got into Magic. I used to, I built so many tribal decks. Let's go and go for Coat of Arms. It's going to be 1, 2, 3. Get that down. Each creature gets +1/+1 for each other creature on the battlefield. Oh, yes, look at that. All right. And then we could get some more stuff done. We're just going to go and push in on this. All right, opponent's going to scoop it up. Let's see how much bird. We have 7. Oh, hold on, let me pull that up. Sorry about that weird edit. Sometimes whenever the game ends, it kind of shoots it back to the desktop. But you can see we got down Coat of Arms. We're looking at a pretty good chunk of bird damage coming across, which is always fun to say that. Looking at 7 plus 7 plus 6 plus 6 plus 7 plus 5. We're looking at about 31 points of bird damage coming in the air. Just to kind of get it even more on, what we could have done is, instead of swinging for lethal, our opponent had no cards in the hand. We had a Force of Will online to kind of stop any sort of fog effect. But another way for us to really kind of amplify the game out would have been able for us to tap out for Owl Familiar. We'd be able to get down Coast Watcher, which you can see Coast Watcher's down in the bottom left. Love the art on this one. It's so just like early 90s. I mean, not early 90s, but yeah, it kind of looks like early 90s Magic. Love it. And then Artificer's Assistant. So we get these down. That's actually going to keep pumping up a lot of our birds on the battlefield. And then Tatyova is going to sit back and look at her wonderful, beautiful bird army. But yeah, that's going to be about it for the video. That's pretty much exactly what you want to happen. Get down Tatyova, get a bunch of birds out, draw a bunch of cards, drawn to either Coat of Arms or drawn to something like Overwhelming Stampede, and then go for a lot of lethal damage swinging across in the air. And get some good value off stuff like Sword of Fire and Ice and Sword of Feast and Famine too, which is always good. But anyways, if you enjoyed the bird show, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.